Guy, welcome to the show, man. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hey man, thanks so much for having me. Yeah. Name's Guy, father to two young boys, pretty soon to be three boys, another one due in December.
Hell
Married
yeah,
to
man. Congrats, bro.
Thanks, dude. Thanks so much. Yeah, my wife and I are tuning in on our 5-year wedding anniversary coming up in a few months. And
Nice.
yeah, man, just really excited. We just recently moved down to Charleston, South Carolina. We moved from Boston, and it's just been a big change of scenery for us, but it's been really good, man.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Charleston's great. I was actually there in a couple months ago, actually. It's a cool town.
Yeah.
Different than Boston. Much different than Boston.
Yeah, very much so. And we're just not used to all the heat and the humidity. Like today, it's 100 degrees outside, and man, is it humid. So we gotta pray that the AC works well because it's insane out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you started another business called Dadgood, which I'm familiar with. Yeah, I wouldn't say that like what I'm trying to do is anything a direct competitor because I think men in general need to be awesome and communicate to the best of their ability. But I did email or I did talk to a couple of people from the Dadgood community, so it seems like you created something really awesome for yourself.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and look, there's no such thing as competition in the dad space, right? I
Yeah,
totally
100%
agree with
agree
you.
with you.
It's all about, do dads have a place to come together? Like, look, dad good is a really cool place to be, but at the end of the day, it's not a one size fits all, right? Dads will find their own community, and I just hope that they can find a community that fits for them. So if it's not us, if it's another one, by all means, just join a group, join
Yeah.
some sort of cohort for dads. That's all I care about.
Yeah. What do you think that the I guess I wouldn't say pressure, but the focus on being like a good father, do you think that's more from a millennial, like young professional standpoint, or do you feel like I guess where you're at in the status in the world of being a father? Because I feel like my dad, although he's an amazing dad, I don't think that he focused on bettering himself on a daily basis by meeting like-minded people. Obviously the internet necessarily didn't exist to the caliber that it does today, and social media wasn't even a thing. So like, do you think it's generational, or do you think it's something a little bit different?
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I had to grow up very early in life. I became a father at 25 years old. I didn't have a pot to piss in, and my wife. I was already married at the time. My wife was like, "All right, I'm pregnant." And we were like, "Okay, let's figure it out." And it seems like this switch kind of flipped overnight, where I was like, "Okay, well, I have to be a provider. I have to be someone that my kids will look up to one day." And at the rate that I'm going at right now, it's not sustainable. So I think becoming a father kind of made that happen. Now, my dad personally, unbelievable human being. Like him and I, super tight. He also had me at 19 years old. Turned out very well for himself, but I got to experience young parents and I saw how much he worked. Now, he was a blue collar guy. He worked 100 hours a week. I rarely ever saw him, but when I did see him, he was present. Um, I'm fortunate enough to work from home. Like I know how exhausted I am and I still try to make time for the kids. Dude, my dad would work 12, 15-hour days. He would come home and we would still play catch.
Nice.
So I got to see that. But I don't know. I think now, like just having LinkedIn at the palm of our hands, you get access to folks from all across the world. Super, super easy. And I don't know. So I would say it's like a mixture of I got to see what a good dad is, and I wanted to replicate that. But at the same time, I don't know. It's such a whirlwinded answer, but there's so many factors that go into like wanting to be a good dad and like what forms that in someone, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's a great, amazing experience that you had that ability. I mean, let's talk about the working from home thing because that could be a little bit difficult. Do you find that it's hard to kind of get out of work brain and then turn on the dad cap? Because I mean, I just went upstairs, right, and my daughter is up there and she's like doing her own thing, and then I have to come back down, and then I have to get serious and get to work and do my thing. So like, have you found it difficult to work from home but also be a present father?
Um, yes and no. I'm very fortunate the fact that I can see my kids every single day. We don't miss a beat. Any milestone, I'm there for. First words, first steps, I'm always there. But at the same time, yeah, it is extremely difficult. Like few minutes ago I went out to get water and my son was in the kitchen with my wife. They were doing like some sort of activity. But I always try to make it a point where if I see him, it's like, hey, I love you, buddy, or I go over and I give him a hug or I give him a kiss or something, like some sort of interaction. So that way I don't feel as bad coming into my office having to lock the door and then make that disconnect all over again.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And I guess like from a parenting standpoint, you mentioned that your wife is home as well. I would assume that there's some level of like, tell me a little bit more about the work dynamic. You don't have to go into the specifics of the job, but like, what are some of the things that you're feeling as a dad and working as a working father? You know, are there any things that you've thought about or discussions that you've had with your wife about, you know, working, the hours that you spend, maybe too many hours that you've been working on and being a provider for them?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'd say we definitely do have to keep an open dialogue as far as like, hey, when you're out of work, you're out of work. And I do have a bad habit of even when I clock out from my day job, like I'll still be on my phone at night answering emails. So I'll pop into my office and like I'm in sales at the end of the day. Like if a contract's coming in, I got to jump on. We got to pay the bills, right? And
Hell yeah.
I do try to disconnect when, work is done, but the flexibility of being at home is like, yeah, some days I may have to pop out for a few hours to go do something, but then I'll log back on at night. So it's not like I have set hours, and the beauty of my wife being a stay-at-home mom is like I have that flexibility with her, right? Like I'll pick up work, I'll get off, we'll do something, I'll pick it back up later. I won't say that it's gotten to the point where it's been a problem. I will say when we first launched Dadgood, we were putting so many hours into it that I wasn't present at home. Like it
Mm,
was get off day job, get into Dadgood, and that was just consuming my life for I want to say probably like 3 to 5 months. And we even had that conversation. It was like, hey, you're just super busy, but at the same time, she respects the fact that, I'm trying to provide for us and I'm trying to build this really cool ecosystem for a lot of dads. But again, it's just about talking and being like, hey, it's a little too much. Let's tone it down a little bit, right?
how many, I mean, how many conversations do you think you've had about that topic? Like, what is your
Uh,
structure? What do you recommend? The reason why I'm asking these questions, not to pry about your personal life, but
yeah.
like to find a story to be able to extract that other fathers and parents that are listening to this will be able to replicate. You know, do you guys have like scheduled sessions? Do you guys do weekly check-ins? Do you guys just like off the cuff type of conversations where you're like, hey, you're being an a-hole, or hey, you're being a D, or whatever it may be?
It's that last one. Yeah, we definitely
Nice.
don't. Yeah, we definitely don't have any sort of like structured time. Like, granted, we have our time where we have dinner together every single night. We all do. We sit at the table and like we have our chats, but we don't have any sort of like on the calendar. Hey, we're gonna check in about this. It's really, hey, something's bothering you, bring it up.
Mm,
For me, for her, and that's just always how we've been. Now, granted, was it always perfect? No. Like we're still young. We've been married for a good amount of time, but I feel like it's getting better than what it used to be. Communication is hard for anyone. It's not easy to just open up about what you're feeling or if something is bothering you. But I will say, and it's easier said than done. Work on it. It will become easier to talk about things, but it's definitely not easy in the beginning, and we're still trying to figure it out. Like we have uncomfortable conversations all the time, and that's just what makes you better. You know what I mean? Like no one wants to have them, but you need them, and that's just what makes relationships move forward at the end of the day, right?
yeah. What about the dynamic from one to two and now to, almost three? What was that transition like?
Dude, whoever told me that going from 1 to 2 was easy was a liar,
Mm,
and that was, dude, that was a brutal jump. So my son Enzo just turned 3 last month, and then my son Nico will turn 1 next this Friday.
nice.
So 2 under 3, extremely difficult. That jump was really hard, mostly because our oldest got all the time in the world. And then we bring this new baby into the world. Well, a baby really all they need is food and sleep. They don't need crazy amounts of attention. Who really needs the attention is the older child because they're the ones that now understand what's going on. They feel a little bit more left out. Um, and that was hard at first because you want to give the baby all of the attention, but um, I think we quickly realized like, hey, our oldest needs more attention. Like, let's focus more on him. But dude, it was brutal. And now the third one, I don't know. People say that the third is easy. Dude, I have no idea, but we're prepared for it. Like I said, we're young parents, so if anything, now's the time to do it. We have all the energy to make it happen. So I'm
Hell yeah.
stoked to have another boy. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Three. Oh man.
I know,
Well,
I know. I was praying for a girl, but we're gonna have a third boy. And now we're all done. No more kids. I
yeah,
promise.
yeah, yeah. Lock it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So where was a sweet spot? Because like to me, I feel like 1 to 6 months is hard in terms of your sleep, but in terms of your mental load, it's relatively easy to your point because they're not really moving, they're static, et cetera, et cetera. And then they start moving around 9, at least for my daughter, it was 9 months. She's walking at 9 months, and now she's full on sprinting at like 21 months. So like, where do you think the sweet spot is when you started getting into the groove? Do you have any recommendations from the very beginning of time management between the focus of you and your wife on both kids? And then maybe walk me through the progression of like where you're at now, because I'm assuming he's a little bit more mobile. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So very similar. So my son started walking really young. It was like right around that like 8, 9 month range. Which yeah, it becomes extremely difficult because when the baby can't move, it's like, okay, just put them down, do what you need to. And now it's kind of chaos. You have a 3-year-old boy with a almost 1-year-old boy. All they want to do is just wreak havoc together right there. You can clean up the house a million times. They're going to go over there and pull stuff out of cabinets and just make messes. So I will say, probably baby proof the house. We did it with our first, where we put locks on cabinets, and obviously you do like the baby gates and all that to keep them from going upstairs if you have stairs. But we didn't do that with this one. And I feel like I'm at a point now where we're just like, all right, we're just so used to the chaos. Like, we just clean up when they do it. I will suggest to any father or parent going through it, if you have kids that are now mobile, lock the cabinets. Go to Home Depot, go to Amazon, buy the cabinet locks. It's just going to save you so much, so much stress and anxiety. So, but back to your question about kind of navigating, we've always been, well, look, I'll be honest. My wife does 90% of the work. That's just how it always has been. She's just a natural mother and just does everything before I can even get to it. But when I am available and I'm not working and, the two of us are free, it's first come, first serve. It's not like we have a, hey, you did this, you do that. Granted, if my wife changes 10 diapers, she's like, all right, it's your turn. I'll step in and I'll go do it. But there is no like, hey, you did this, now you have to do that. It's just, hey, are you there? Get it done. Some nights we're both tackling, bedtime and bath time together, or some nights like I'm doing it or she's doing it. It's just, we just make it happen,
Yeah. And was that where do you think you found that sweet spot? Like at what time period?
Um, I would say it was, yeah. I mean, you made a great point about when the little ones become mobile. The sweet spot definitely becomes like when they become. No, actually, no. I want to pivot that. I want to say the sweet spot became when my youngest like started sleeping through the night. My oldest started sleeping really well through the night at 7 or 8 months old. Put him in his crib, he would sleep for 12 hours a night. My little guy was up way too much. I'm talking like 6, 7 times a night. Around 8 months, probably like 3 or 4 months ago, he started sleeping. And that's when our life kind of went back into this normal state. Because as you know, when the kids are not sleeping, you're trying to get whatever kind of rest you can, become irritable, become stressed. It's hard when you're only sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night. So I'd say when the little one started, actually sleeping through the night, that's when we were like, okay, we got our lives back in check. And then our routine just becomes the exact same every single day. It's like we get the kids up at the same time, we get them to breakfast, go for like a morning family walk, get back. My wife will do an activity with them. They go down for a nap, and then lunch, and then it's like other activities. I get off of work, we have dinner together, bath time, bedtime, and it's that same exact cycle that we do every single day, but it just works because we have it dialed now. But but it didn't start happening until really he was sleeping. So now we can actually function and pay attention to what's going on.
And then the chaos begins all over again in a couple months.
That's it. That's it. At night, you're just like, okay, I'm just sleeping until the chaos starts all over again. Yeah.
How I guess how many hours do you usually typically sleep? And then my follow-up question is, let's talk a little bit more about what you do for yourself
Mhm.
and your amazing relationship from what it seems. So like how many hours a night are you sleeping, and what do you do for yourself that like just allows you to be better as a man?
Yeah. So I sleep 8 to 10 hours every single night. And
Nice.
then, yeah, so that's been, well, since the little guy started actually sleeping at night. So if they go to bed around like 7 o'clock, I'm usually out by, 9 or 10. And then I'm not waking up until like 6:30 or 7 the next day. And then what I do for
Nice.
myself every single day. So as of 2 weeks ago, I actually hired a personal trainer for the first time. I was like, all right, we live down south. It's warm all year round. I got to lock in. So
Yeah.
I hired a trainer, and man, it's been really tough because I went from eating whatever I want whenever I want, having the free will to just have ice cream and burgers whenever, to like a full blown meal regimen where I have to track every single thing. And I'll be honest, I feel fantastic. Like I
Mm,
wake up ready to go. I don't feel like crap throughout the day. My energy's been up, and then I go to the gym. I would say like 4 to 5 times a week, and that's like my me time. My wife respects that as well, so I go to the gym every single day or as many times as I can during the week. And then as of lately, she's been coming with me, and then our gym has a daycare, so we'll go to the gym
nice.
together. I'll do my workout, she'll do hers, and then the kids will sit at daycare, and yeah, we kind of just like we'll start our morning that way.
That's cool. So, have you always been active, or is this something that's completely? I mean, you seem like a pretty fit guy, so I would assume that you've been working out for a while, but maybe just kind of got off the track a little bit.
Yeah. I've always been into fitness I think since I was like 15 or 16. I remember like being in high school, just being a kid and always just wanting to work out. I love the workout portion of it. I never liked the diet part of it. So I would work out a ton and just eat whatever I want. And obviously health and being in shape. 90% of it is nutrition, right? You can work out as hard as you want. If you eat like crap, you're going to look like crap. And I
100%.
got to a point where we moved down south, and now where we live, in our community, there's a pool, and you can use the pool all year round. And I realized like, hey, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my shirt off. Like there's a lot of other people here. And now with 2 kids, like how cool would it be if I'm a father of 2 kids, I can go and I look fantastic. So that's really why I did it. It was just this status of like, okay, I'm looking really good. I feel really confident. And I lacked that for a while after the kids. I kind of fell off the wagon, stopped working out so much, and started looking like crap. And I was like, all right, I don't want that. I'm a young dude. I shouldn't look like that, right? Let me figure something out. And honestly, I'm so glad I did, because while it's been a short or a long 2 weeks, I should say, you can start to see results early, and I feel a whole lot better. And that's what's really been exciting me. Like being able to have all this energy for my kids, energy to spend time with my wife, and just overall looking better and feeling better about myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow up. You do feel a huge difference because
Yeah.
of the
Big.
energy that you're able to provide.
Yeah. No,
Were
big
you
time.
sluggish previously? Yeah.
Oh, dude. Midday would hit. I would say like through like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would just be a zombie, like ready to call it quits and just so tired, like really having a hard time powering through the day. Now, well, more so over the last like couple of days, maybe like 3 or 5 days, I've really been feeling that energy where I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of ready to go. Like I'm not bogging down, just feeling good. Yeah.
That's what's up. I To kind of give you a quick background on my journey on that, I was always into fitness. Kind of got off the wagon a little bit because of just life and things like that. Um, I think I have a home gym, which has been a game changer for me inside of my garage, and I've been gracious enough to be able to just I don't like the hard part is just like getting there, like clocking
Yeah.
in. Um, that's been a game changer. But the one thing I wanted to share with you that I think was a game changer, and I think most people should do this. There's a company called Function Health, and there are some doctors that do this, and I'd recommend consulting first. But I got some tests done for blood gut, bacteria, microbiome, all that stuff. And it's been an absolute game changer for me in terms of my life. Like, I couldn't recommend it higher to somebody who is wants to be active, that wants to be fit, and wants to reduce brain fog and fatigue. Understanding just like where the bacteria is in your body and getting rid of it, just night and day in terms of my productivity.
Yeah, and what prompted you to do that?
I've always had stomach issues personally. I've always had something like wrong. Like I found out like when I first started my business, I would eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like every day because that's all I could afford.
Hmm.
And then I found out that I was actually allergic to peanut butter the entire time.
No way.
So then I would just be like, yeah, man, I'm like, my stomach hurts like all the time. Like,
Yeah.
do I have like Crohn's disease or something like that? And it's like, no, I'm just allergic to peanut butter. And
So
so
how
it's
long
like
did that go on for before you actually found out though?
years. Like I found out
Oh,
about it like maybe like 3 years ago that I was allergic to peanut butter. Yeah.
dude. So when
Yeah.
was the last time you had a PB&J?
Probably like 2 years and 364 days to the day in which I found out about. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's brutal because I know like even now, well, not anymore ever since the diet started, but like midday, if you're just hungry or need like a pick me up, dude, a PB&J goes so far,
Oh,
and that's
100%.
an energy boost right there. So
Yeah.
man, that's tough. I hope you can have another one day. I really do.
I hope so too. But even just like as I'm getting older, like lactose in general, like I've reduced a lot of that stuff, like anything that's lactose. But in addition to that, just eating like solid foods and not necessarily processed things. I mean, I don't eat a lot of processed things to begin with, but I think just that in itself, just home earth grown stuff goes a long, long way. So if you're not familiar with it, highly recommend it. Just look into it. It's called Function Health, but there's multitude of people who actually do it. I want to kind of circle back a little bit and end the conversation with just some advice that you have for young fathers. You said you're a young father. You have currently three on the way. Is there anything that you would recommend to a father that's listening to this that is, in the trenches right now, and trying to figure out how to get the hell out of it?
Yeah. I think the first place to start is seek community, regardless of where that is, whether that's like a local group and you can do an in-person meetup or something that you can, chat with other dads. For me, I was the first dad in my friend group.
Mm,
Out of a ton of my friends, even now, I'm the only one that has kids. And granted, I still love my friends, but the conversations aren't the same. They can't relate to me in a lot of ways, right? There are times where they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go out, let's do this." It's like, dude, I can't. I'm married and I have kids. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Weekend trips, like, yeah, you're gonna miss out on a lot, but at the same time, I was telling my wife this the other day. We have friends that don't have kids and they can just like go out and do whatever they want. Like, yeah, sometimes that would be nice, but would I ever trade the life that I have to do that? Absolutely not. I'm taking being a dad 10 out of 10 times. Now, that becomes extremely difficult as you're navigating fatherhood if you're down in the dumps and you don't have someone to talk to, because you can't just go out to your regular friends and be like, "Hey, I'm dealing with this." They're going to be like, "Okay, like go drop them off at a babysitter." Like, no, that's not that's not how it works.
yeah.
So I think the most valuable thing that you can do, and what I should have did when I first, when I was even expecting, is to find community and find other dads that you can learn from, or not even learn from, but just be able to share war stories with, and someone who actually understands what you're going through, and maybe they navigated the same things too. I'd say that's probably the single-handedly most important thing that you can do. It's just surround yourself with good dads, right?
Hell yeah. Amen, man.
Yeah.
I will say, from the reason why I wanted to start this podcast is for that exact reason. I find it very difficult. Not that I'm like weird and autistic that I can't make friends. I can easily make friends, but I find it really difficult to be able to relate to men and even just people in general, when they don't have the same parenting style. Not saying that all parenting, like my parenting, is like the best ever, but just like small little things that when you're not taking being a dad as seriously as I am, and it's kind of just like a side quest, to me, it's just like, you're not my tribe. And so to your point, building a community of people that are your tribe that you can go to and communicate with is just, just paramount. Did you find that like a little bit difficult as well, like building friends and working with people? Because like all of your friends for the most part are not dads. Like, do you? I'm sure you still talk to them, but like the relationship definitely has changed.
Yeah, dude, tremendously. And like, even some of my best friends from childhood that I would talk to every single day, do we talk every single day anymore? No. And granted, 90% of my friends are still up in Boston. I moved down to Charleston. I had to restart. I didn't know anybody. So the first thing that I did when I moved down here was I joined a softball team. I played a ton up north. We traveled the country, did a bunch. I love playing. The first thing I did when we moved here, within the first week, I got on a team. Luckily, I had a few buddies from back home that played in some tournaments. Were like, hey, pick this dude up. I actually have a game tonight. So every Monday night, I play in a league. That was the first thing I did. And most of the guys that are there in their 30s or 40s are dads. So that was okay. That was a good stepping stone. Okay, I made some new friends that are now dads. And now moving into this neighborhood, it's a lot of young couples. A lot of them have kids. Like, I'm able to, go to the pool or go on walks, and you meet people that you actually want to be around. One comment that I was going to make too, I think you had Matt Campbell on another episode when him and I first met through Dadgood. He made a really good point in the fact that he recently moved. He moved from California to Indiana, and he was saying that making friends is extremely hard. But a lot of times, you might make friends with another dad because your partner is, your partner is friends with someone, and then their like husband, whatever, now naturally just becomes your friend. And he was even like, dude, I don't always want to be friends with those people. Like, that's not because my wife is friends with them. Like, I need to be friends with the husband. And that resonated with me. I was like, yeah, that's exactly true. Like, just because my wife's friends with someone doesn't mean I'm going to get along with her husband. But it is hard putting yourself out there, especially if you're not super social. I'd like to think that I am, like joining that team, going out and just talking to people. So I don't think I have a hard time making friends, but I can see it being extremely difficult if you move somewhere new, or like you started a new job and like just trying to meet those people. That's why I think when you join community, you kind of pick and choose your battles. You might see a thread where you see someone's name over and over again. And you're like, oh, he looks like a cool dude. I'm gonna hit him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the contrary to that, you might see someone who's posting something and you're like, I probably would never get along with that dude. And then you just avoid that person. And then you kind of build and flourish those relationships. Matt Campbell, Chris Walcher, and Warren, we're best friends. I met them through Dadgood last year. Haven't met them in person. We text every single day, and we have for the last year and a half, and we haven't missed a beat. If that community never started, I would have never met those guys. And awesome. I'm so grateful that we did, because if I had a wedding all over again, they would all be in my wedding, awesome. Which is wild to say out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. And you never met them?
Never met them. Hopefully I do soon, but I haven't met them. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I did have Matt. Ironically enough, I talked to you and Matt, you guys started the whole That Good stuff. It wasn't on purpose. It was just by coincidence. But that's really, really cool. I couldn't agree more with you on that. And congratulations to you on all your success and moving. It's ridiculously hard, but you're crushing it. So
thanks,
thank you so much for your time, man. Congrats on baby 3.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.